حياتي مع الله أجمل، مع الله تحلو الحياة.
Alhamdulillah, my dear respected brothers and elders, it's a great blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has given us the tawfiq and the ability to fulfill that commandment which is the most beloved to Him, and that is to offer our salah, and that also to offer our salah, fulfill this fara'id within the masjid. There's a hadith to the effect that those people that frequent the masjid during the hours of darkness, they will have perfect life on the day of Qiyamah. And also alongside with my respected brothers and elders, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the tawfiq and the ability to sit for a short while to remember Him. Today we have time inside the world to do everything, but we do not have time to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a sign of acceptance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this will hold some form of weight on the day of Qiyamah, in the life of the hereafter when our a'mal will be weighed. This will hold some form of weight that we have sat in a gathering where the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking place. Where it comes in a hadith to the effect that those people that sit in the gatherings where the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking place, before that gathering ends, all the minuses are forgiven. Now, dear respected brothers, the greatest gift that each and every single one of us has been gifted with is a gift of Iman, is the gift of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a doer of each and every single thing. The reality today, my dear respected brothers, is that insan he has failed to recognize who is his Allah. That his Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that does each and every single thing. Not a single thing is done without the hukum, without the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not a single thing can be done without the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If all the trees in the world were to be turned into pens, and all the water of this world was to be turned into ink, and one was to start writing about the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he was to thereafter, the pens would break, the ink would finish, and if he was to take a needle and dip it into the ocean, that which is left on the needle when he takes it out from the ocean is not what would even be decreased or covered by what he has written about the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My dear respected brothers and elders, this iman that we have, such qimti iman, such a gift Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with, comes that so long as there is one person on the face of this earth that is taking the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues the nizam of this entire world. This is the value of one individual with iman. Such a weighty kalima that on the day of Qiyamah one individual will come and he will have 99 scrolls of bad deeds, and they will be placed on one side of the scale, and the value of Iman, La ilaha illallah, this will be placed on the other side of the scale. Such weight this will hold, such weight La ilaha illallah will hold, that the 99 scrolls will go flying in the air. And you such as if a person he was to spend his entire life in the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in shirk and kufr, and his final words before he departs from this world was La ilaha illallah, then this person will be successful in the hereafter. This person will be successful in the hereafter. If an individual he was to spend his entire life in the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he was to leave from this world with an iota worth of iman, and he was to enter into the hereafter, this person in the hereafter, he will have a Jannah that is 10 times as big as this world. So this is the value, my dear respected brothers and elders, of this iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Such a hearer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. He is the all hearing. If every single individual from Adam alayhi salam until the day of Qiyamah, every single insan, every single creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all the jinn, they were to gather on one playing field, and every single one of them was to ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all the different dialects, in all the different languages, in all the different ways. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would be able to fulfill every single thing that the individual asked for. And it goes on to say that this individual, whatever he was thinking about, whatever he was yearning for within his heart that he wasn't able to ask for, Allah Ta'ala would be able to fulfill every single one of these khwaishats as well. And not even an atom's worth would be decreased from the khazana of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Muhammadur Rasulullah, that my success, your success, and the success of the entire mankind lies only in following the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shown to us by our beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And if we were to follow any other way, then this would lead us to failure. This would lead us to destruction. Do you say to us, what was the life of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? How was his home? He would eat in the morning, and if he was to eat in the morning, he would miss the meal in the evening. If he was to eat in the the evening, he would miss the meal in the morning, the following morning. This was the life of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the time of Uhud. His Mubarak tooth broke. We hear during the battle of Khandaq, during the battle of the trenches, the Sahaba are coming to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they're lifting their kurta and they're showing the Nabi of Allah how they have one stone tied to their body, and they're saying to the Nabi of Allah, "Oh Nabi of Allah, when will the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala come?" So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he shows them and he lifts his kurta and he shows that 2 stones are tied to his body because of the pangs of hunger. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what did he promise the Nabi of Allah? If he wanted the riches of the dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to make the mountains of Makkah into gold for him, and they would follow him everywhere he was to walk. But he chose a life of simplicity and sadhi, my dear respected brothers and elders. Why? Because he understood that this life, the life of this dunya, is nothing. Since the creation of this entire world, Allah Ta'ala has not looked at this world with the eyes of mercy. And he understood that a person, he is only in this world for a short period of time. Then he will have to depart from this world. And then he will have to go and he will enter into the grave. And the life of the grave will start. Today we say that our eyes inside the dunya are open. The reality is the life, our eyes inside this life are closed. They'll open when we die, when we depart from this world. When a person, he enters his grave, what is the life of the grave? Have we understood that when a good person, he enters the grave will open as far as the eye can see. And then a door of Jannah will open, and he will begin to smell the fragrance of Jannah. And he will be able to see his final abode for the life of the hereafter when he enters Jannah. However, on the contrary, if an evil person was to be entered into the grave, what is his end? The grave will squeeze this individual to the extent where the ribs from one side will interlock with the ribs of the other side. And then serpents and the animals of the hereafter will be set upon this individual to continue torturing this individual until the day of Qiyamah. And then the day of Qiyamah will come. How this individual spent his life. If he spent it in the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the way that he departed from this world, this is the same way that he will stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is the same way he'll be resurrected on the day of Qiyamah. What is the day of Qiyamah? The sun will be a handspan away from this individual. Today, mashallah, for this last week we've had the heat millions of miles away, and it still makes us want to wear half sleeve clothes. It makes us sweat from so many millions of miles away. Imagine what will be our condition on the day of Qiyamah when the sun is only a handspan away from our heads. And the floor is made of copper, and some individuals based on their sins, they will be drowning in their sweat. Some, the sweat will be up to their necks, some up to their belly button, some to their knees, some they will be walking within their own sweat. This is the day of Qiyamah, and then we will have to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How will we stand and give an account before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the life that we have lived of this world, where we have chased the pound and the dollar, and we have not built the bank balance of a'mal and iman for the life of the hereafter. And then the end doesn't start. This is only the beginning, my dear brothers and elders. Then the bridge of Sirat, thinner than the thinnest hair, sharper than the sharpest blade, and beneath it will be Jahannam. Some individuals will be crawling on the bridge of Sirat. Some will cross at the speed of lightning, and the only thing that will take a person across the bridge of Sirat is his iman and a'mal. On the day of Qiyamah, when an individual, he sees Jahannam, and he will say to Allah, Ya Allah, send me back into this world so that I may worship you. And when he sees Jahannam, and he will hear the scream of Jahannam. Imagine, my dear brothers, each and every single one of us have to endure this. And then when a person, he enters into Jannah, what is the life of the hereafter? The women of Jannah, the fruits of Jannah, the streams of Jannah, the gardens of Jannah. When Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says in a hadith, and he says that Jannah is a place that no eye has ever seen, no ear has ever heard of, no mind or heart has ever comprehended such things. Valleys, streams of Jannah, palaces of Jannah, where the palaces, they will not be made with the cement and the brick of the dunya, they will be made with bricks of gold and silver. And joining one brick together will be musk, pearls and emeralds. My dear brothers, one palace, a person, he enters, and he'll see that each and every single palace has so many rooms, and each and every single room has so many doors. My dear brothers, this is what a person that has worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he spent his life on iman and a'mal. This is what is waiting for him in the life of the hereafter. And on the other hand, a person, if he was to had to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to send him to Jahannam, what will be his condition? He said that the lowest level of Jahannam, an individual, he'll be made to wear shoes that are so hot and that are burning, that are so hot that they will make his brain boil. Madhu says, well, this is what the person has to endure. And this is the lowest level of Jahannam. Imagine the fire of Jahannam is one thing. The cold of Jahannam is another thing, Madhu said to us and elders. So for this, a very, very great effort is required. This is why Jamaats come out into your locality, and this is why we strive out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So one can make fikr for his iman. And why is fikr? Why does one have to make fikr for his iman? We look at the life of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we look at the sahabas that were with him. Hazrat Hanzala radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he sat in the gathering in the company of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When he returns home for a short while, he is with his family. He is not doing anything against the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, against the sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He is spending time with his family. And he begins to think that when I am in the company of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, my iman is at a high. When I return back home and I'm with my family, my iman decreases. I am a munafiq. And then he goes and he walks to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and he is saying to himself, I have become a munafiq, I have become a munafiq. Imagine the level of that iman, my dear brothers. Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says that if Jannah and Jahannam was to be placed before me, the level of my iman would neither increase nor decrease. This was the level of the iman of the Sahabas, my dear brothers. And how was this level of iman made? This was made by fikr, my dear brothers. This was made by effort. Effort was made behind that iman. And this is why today we also have to make effort behind our iman. This is why we see in the final sermon of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam approximately over 124,000 Sahabas were present. Today we see in Makkah, Medina only a handful of graves, 30,000 graves. Where the rest of the Sahabas buried. They understood the maqsad. They understood that their life they have to continue spreading and they have to go from one person and save them from the fire of Jahannam. And this, my dear brothers, is also our responsibility. That how can we also strive and struggle for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why Jamaat has entered your locality. And this is why Jamaat from your locality will also leave 25th of June. Jamaat shukr is being made for a 40 days Jamaat. 3 days Nakat Jamaat is to inshallah leave next weekend. Brothers are humbly requested to make intention to strive in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.